Got that with you. Yeah, I guess we can start. I'll call this November 20th to November 30th Board of Selectmen meeting at 4:02. Joe's here, our new selectman, Ray Priest is here, and a couple of people in the audience. Anybody online? Oh, yeah, people online too. Yeah. Sorry about that. Number 2, approve the meeting minutes of November 9th, 2023.
I'll make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from November 9th.
There's a second to that? I'll second it. Discussion?
Actually, yes, I had a few things. That was an extraordinary meeting where we had a lot of public comment, both here and online. Minimally, I think we should probably amend the meeting minutes to reflect the order of all the speakers. Not necessarily summarizing their comments, but we should probably outline who spoke in what order in the public comment sessions, because it doesn't really say that. It just says a number of people got to speak, and you wouldn't know who spoke unless you watched the recording. So, and that's the second part of my comment. I think we need to figure out a way to put the link of the recordings in the meeting minutes section of the website, so that folks can access them, directly from the website, rather than having to go through the cloud or having the recording sent to somebody. But
I think we had a discussion on that, and it was a matter of how much material there'd be if we put them all on regular, but I can check with Gabe again and see.
I'm sure it's going to take up quite a bit of space on the website, with bandwidth and all that, but I think having access to those discussions is probably more important than what it might cost to house all that data somewhere.
Well, they do call, people do request them, and I do send them if they want them. They'll call me and I can send them the recording.
Right, but if you're not available,
right,
then folks don't have access.
I will bring it up here, because it was brought up to me that we didn't do the executive session properly. We had a motion going executive session, and then it says in the minutes with Sandy Broder, Ray Priest, and Lisa Molesky present. And it was brought to my attention that we should have in the minutes who was invited. I think it's a technicality, but I want to bring it up because it was brought up to me that I think by saying they're present, we know they're invited. So I just wanted to bring it up so that you're aware that there were questions on it.
Well, actually, yes. I mean, when we broke for executive session, there was a lot of activity in the room, and you had turned to me and said, who did you want to invite? And I just kind of pointed to Sandy and Lisa and Ray. I know Amy had reached out to me and she said, you didn't, but I heard it because I'm sitting 6 feet away from you. But I think for the public record, I think it's probably important that we get it right. So if we amend meeting minutes, that's fine.
I don't know that my point is, and I agree with Amy, that we have to be extremely careful because we scrutinize pretty carefully. And I just said in the future, we'll make sure that we're clear on the terminology when we invite people and stuff. Because I agree with her that we have to be careful.
Right. So after we act on this, I have a question unrelated to the November 9th meeting.
Any more discussion on the minutes then? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? Okay, motion passed. Number 3, public
Can I
comment.
ask a question?
Oh, okay.
So November 16th, we had a meeting with an executive session. You published meeting minutes. Do we have to accept those meeting minutes to document the
Yes, we
session?
should. We wrote those up, right? November 16th minutes.
It was circulated, so.
Were the minutes were circulated?
Yeah. As per the attorney told us what we should put in it and stuff. Why don't we table that till next meeting? We'll get the details done.
Okay.
But I did check with the attorney on it. He told us what we should do, so we'll get it next meeting.
And there too is the same, the same type of mechanism. I think when we call the meeting to order, we went directly into.
Yeah, I blew that out. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I didn't do it right.
I think we had a lot of folks on the line and everyone was anxious to get going, but.
What bothers me most about that is I know better. But
Yeah, you've been through it once or twice.
All right, we'll put that on for next meeting.
Okay.
You want to make an official table on that?
Well, it's not on the agenda and I didn't make a motion yet, so
Okay,
we'll just add it to the next.
okay. Any other public comment now? Anybody online?
Hopefully they can hear us.
Can you online? Can you all hear us?
Yes, I would like to make a public comment.
Okay, go ahead.
And it's regarding the timing of this meeting is happening during work
Say your name.
hours.
Say your name so we have it on the record.
My name is Karen Wilcox from Day Street. My comment is regarding the timing of this meeting and why it's scheduled during standard business hours instead of later in the night when it's more easy to attend. That would be my initial comment. If they could be held in the evening hours as traditionally I think are at 7.
Okay, we'll bring that up later in the meeting. It's on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comment? Mary?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
I actually was going to ask the exact same question.
Excuse me, what's your last name?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Mary Kolensik. I'm a very small business owner in Brooklyn and a post office employee in Brooklyn. I was going to ask the same exact question. This 4 o'clock hour is not convenient for residents who want to participate, and I think you guys know well that people are going to start participating.
Okay. I'll give you the same answer. It's coming up later in the agenda.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. Anybody else? Guess that's it then. I guess it's coming up now. Vote on dates for next year's meeting. We have some tentative dates here. I will say at one time we had all the meetings in the afternoon, and sometimes we've had them all at night. And last couple of years we've had the first meeting a month at night and the last meeting a month at 4 o'clock. We can discuss this. I have no preference myself. But we have some dates for the meetings and we have a couple that we might want to change because of the holidays and stuff, and we can discuss the times. So I'll open that up and we can discuss it. So Selectmen, I know Ray, you haven't been here before. But I said that we've done it all different ways. We've had them all in the afternoon, we've had them all at night, and in the last few years we've had the first meeting at night and the second one at 4 o'clock. So I think before we went to the 1-and-1, we had them all during the day, and that's why we went to 1 at night and 1 in the evening. So residents did have to participate at night instead of a 4 o'clock meeting. So I'll bring it up for discussion if you guys want to have your opinion on it or any thoughts on it.
I can appreciate the comment, or comments. It was always very difficult for me to follow meetings during the workday. but I knew that it was convenient for the selectmen at the time, who had, employees in town hall who were on the clock, who were participating in the meetings, also, be available. And when we have evening meetings, then, we run into overtime and things like that. I have zero objection to scheduling both selectmen meetings in the evening hours. In fact, it'll provide some relief to me so that I don't have to get out of work early to attend the meetings on the last Thursday of the month. So I am 100% in favor of changing the time for the second meeting of the month.
Ray, you got any thoughts?
Well, I thought it made a lot of sense. I have one in the evening, one during the day. Not everybody works 9 to 5. I have no objection either way because I can rearrange my schedule. But I just, when I saw the schedule, I thought it just made sense. Obviously you want at least one in the evening. Well, I think I can rearrange my schedule to whatever accommodates you guys.
Well, so I don't think it's so much accommodating us as much as it is the townspeople.
Yeah.
Like Karen Wilcox said, there are going to be more and more people who I think are going to be interested in the outcome of these agenda items and discussions. So there shouldn't be any objection to creating as much attendance as possible.
The only other thought I had previously was these other boards and commissions, but they're all evening meetings. So we're going to have conflict with, as to me, the one-on-one just made so much sense. I mean, I thought that was the reason, because I can't go to a Board of Ed meeting plus be here at the same night on that or whatever. But
meeting space was a challenge, and we're on Thursdays when we have this early meeting, sometimes we're able to double up and have a capital meeting afterwards or a resource recovery meeting afterwards, but I think we just need to do the best we can with the space and time we have.
I too have no objection. I mean, it does make it convenient for secretary because she had not come back, but that's not our major concern. Our major concern is the residents. There are a couple of dates we're going to have to change. October 31st is Halloween.
You bet.
Well, let's look at the dates first.
Actually, I might propose 3 dates that could be subject to change. One is Halloween, one is Thanksgiving, and one is the day after Christmas. The 26th.
Yeah, I agree. So Halloween is the 31st. So if we moved it up, we would have it 2 weeks in a row. If we moved it back, we'd have it 2 weeks in a row, unless we change the day.
Right.
It's not, well,
What I was going to suggest is that one of the critical parts to us meeting bi-weekly is that we're approving the payment of bills and we're not keeping vendors waiting. But there are 5 Thursdays in October. So if we met on the 10th and the 24th in October, provided that the room and space is available, I think that keeps checks flowing.
yeah. I missed that before because I was thinking it'd be 2 weeks in a row, but if we had it on the 24th at the 10th, yeah, so we'd be good.
And then,
So we'll go for the 24th on October if that's agreeable to everybody.
yes.
And then Thanksgiving,
Thanksgiving, I would actually flip, if we could, to the first week of December, say the 5th.
I'm sorry, I know that I'm out of order, but can I just mention something? I think the WPCA meets the last Wednesday of the month.
they do,
So that's, I'm just, sorry.
Thank you.
but we haven't, 24th is the Thursday.
Okay, just,
Yeah, I'm trying to
I
keep
just
them
want to
all,
make sure that,
We haven't got to Wednesday.
yeah, just trying to keep them all on Thursdays if we can, because of the meeting space issue. But if the 5th were available, we could push it out by 1 week and just do December 5th.
The
December 5th.
first Thursday is ethics, but I hope they're through by then.
Well, if there's no business to conduct, maybe we can ask them to
They're
cancel.
reviewing the ordinance, but they should be through by then, so that unless they have something come up, it wouldn't be a meeting, so that might be open.
Yeah, so if we were to do the 5th and the 19th of December, again, that would keep
You're
checks.
talking November, right?
No,
Oh, we're in December.
no, I thought we resolved
We did Halloween.
Halloween.
What were we doing in November?
Rather than meet on the 28th, I was going to suggest December 5th.
Okay.
And instead of meeting on the 26th of December, I was going to suggest the 19th. I know that's the third Thursday of the month, and I know that's probably a conflict with somebody, but if we had to meet earlier or later, I'm sure we could get some accommodation.
Yeah. You don't know who meets the third Thursday, do you?
Mhm.
Third Thursday is Brooklyn Cares, so we might be able to work around that. That's not a town entity, so.
Get the calendar on this one.
You're looking for the website calendar.
Yeah, I get the minutes, but I can't pull up. I get it on my computer, but I can't seem to pull up the calendar here. I think it might be, emergency management.
December 5th is, well, December 5th of 2023. I don't think, I mean, no one has the meeting schedules for the 24th, for 2024, because we're doing that now, but ZBA, their regular meeting is that first Thursday. Homeland Security Emergency Management is that third Thursday.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So December 5th, 2024, there's nothing.
Right, none of us had done it yet. We're all doing that now.
December, that would be ethics, but I don't think that'd be a conflict. And the 19th would be emergency management. So, I mean, we could probably work around that.
Yep.
And then in December, we covered both of them then. So that would be everything then, right? Conflicts?
Right, so no meeting on the 31st. No meeting on the 28th.
Right. No meeting on the 26th.
Correct. And instead we would,
So we'd have a long gap till next January, but that's okay.
and if we need to pay bills, we can always do a special meeting for that.
Right.
So no meeting on the 5th of December?
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
We will have one on the 5th of December.
In,
The 5th and the 19th of December. The 10th and 24th of October.
in the 19th of December.
14th, so we'll have one in November, then the 14th, right?
Mhm.
And then the 5th and 19th of December. Agreeable to you guys?
Yes.
Here's the dates, now the time. You wanna have them all in the evening? I'm flexible either way.
If at all possible, I'd suggest that all of our meetings be at 6:30 PM for the 2024 calendar year.
That's fine with me. So if you'd like to make a motion, in your motion, please include that there'll be in-person and virtual both.
So I'll make a motion that for the 2024 calendar year, all Board of Selectmen meetings would be at 6:30 PM. Both in person and virtual, to the schedule that was posted with the agenda, with the following changes. The October meetings would be the 10th and the 24th, no meeting on the 31st. The November meeting would be November 14th, and no meeting on the 28th. And the December meetings will be December 5th and December 19th. That's about full. Don't ask me to repeat it.
Second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Any more discussion?
It's just the regular meetings and just talking about the regular scheduled meetings.
Right.
Okay.
Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So moved. B is priorities for the year. I don't know if we have to do this tonight, but we're starting a new term here, and I thought if we all came in with some ideas what we want to accomplish next year or two, we could discuss them and maybe set up some programs or committees if we want to accomplish them.
Yep, I'd certainly like to do that. I don't know what Ray's thoughts are. I know that we've had some trouble getting materials in place for town meetings. We tend to kick those cans forward. Either we're rewriting an ordinance or, we're waiting on ethics to get, the new regs in place. But I think what we should do is establish target dates for some of those things so folks have something to work towards. That way there it doesn't continue to slip. And certainly I'd like to, have other discussions perhaps around the use of LoCIP monies, which we talk about from time to time. We can schedule those projects. Those have to go to town meeting approval, so it makes all the sense in the world to talk about those priorities in, say, a public hearing or some type of Q&A session with residents prior to the town meeting. So just those types of things, certainly, I think we could clean up.
I wasn't just talking about town meetings, which I don't know if we're kicking the can, but we kind of don't have anything urgent, so we'll wait until we get them all ready. But we could have more town meetings, obviously, but I'm talking about things like, we know the health department lease is going to run out 2026. I think eventually we're going to have to do something about town hall. I mean, big projects like that we're not going to solve right away, but we need to get thinking about them, maybe form some committees or something. And I just thought if we all came in with some ideas of things that we might want to discuss during the next year or two and get working. Well, we talked about town administrator too, whether that's something we want to look at. I mean, there's some big things that if we don't think about them and get it going, we aren't going to do anything. So.
Right. Well, and the same thing for the typical meetings that we always do, like capital and stuff like that. Sometimes we go to the well with, the same folks, and resource recovery is going to be, kind of a workout situation too, I suspect. So
WPCA.
All those things I think are terrific. So we've got a lot to consider. I would suggest we come back to.
So I think if we each worked up a list for the next meeting, what we might want to accomplish in next year, at least start on the, you give us something to work towards, and just instead of going month to month without having a clear direction of where we might want to put some effort.
Right. And maybe just establishing what some of these recurring issues need to be on our agenda so we don't lose sight of them. Like WPCA.
And speaking of agendas, I mean, if you guys want to add anything to agenda, just give me a call. I mean, I kind of put it together, but I'm not trying to lock anybody out, or I'm not always remembering everything that we want to put on. So it's certainly open if you call a couple days before the meeting. If you have something that's on your mind you want to put on the agenda, we'll certainly get it on there. All right, so
I've done that in the past, and I appreciate your willingness to take those calls and comments.
well, I appreciate the input, because we're a board, we're not just a selectman here. Any more discussion on that? We'll try and hit that next meeting with some ideas and some discussion.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
Did we vote on the new schedule?
I don't know. Probably not.
I made the motion, but
Did we vote on it, Lisa?
Well, you motioned and Ray seconded.
But we didn't vote?
yeah, we brought up the word agenda and then we went off on a tangent.
Okay, we'll back up a little bit. Everybody in favor of the meeting dates
And time.
and times and set up for this year, discuss, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Sorry about that. C is a paramedic contract. I put this in here. We don't have a lot of details yet, but I did have a meeting today with NECOG. This has become kind of a hot topic right now. When we went out to paramedic in 2016, I believe, it was awarded $85 and it's since gone up to $107. And they're saying now they need $200 to break even. And right now we're operating on a extension of the contract to keep it going. And they had a meeting today and discussing the possibilities, what we're going to do, and what they basically decided was we pay them $150 till July of 24, and then hopefully by January, end of January, we'll have a figure that we can negotiate and go forward on, so we'll have it for our budgets. So that's in the works.
Just for
There's
clarity.
a lot of discussion about whether they have enough financial information to back up what they want for it and what they might need for it. They did discuss having a financial guy on their board, and I said, I think we need more than a financial guy on the board. They need some staff or a consultant or something if they want more information instead of just somebody on the board. So that was my comment, and they're looking into it. So I'm bringing that up for information. If you have any comments, I'll try and help what I know.
Just for clarity, when we say the paramedics, we're talking about the Intercept program?
Right.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that,
I'm reading what's on here instead of what I should know.
yeah, for folks online or present, you know, our EMTs respond to emergency events. And if it is something of an extreme event, especially, you know, cardiac or something like that, there's usually an Intercept program where a paramedic would meet our EMTs either on the way to the hospital or in process. If there are questions that I think Bill Skeen is online, he could certainly elaborate far more eloquently than I can if you wanted to open the floor and if Bill wanted to say a few words about it. that would be helpful.
Bill, you got any comments?
That may not be Bilski.
Bill?
Mhm.
Anyway,
I saw his face earlier, that's why I.
but John Pilchak is supposed to be talking with him, and along with the NECOG, Maureen Nicholson, the chairman of the NECOG, and have some more communication. Day Kimball Hospital has offered to help with some financial expertise and stuff, so.
Yeah.
That's in the works. It's very similar to some other things we're facing here that we question whether people have the actual finance records to show what they're asking for. And so I just brought that up because it is in the works and wanted to be aware of it.
It's an important program, but we do need to make sure that that we do have the full financial picture to stay involved.
Any other new business? Yeah, we're going to old business, the fire lane ordinance. I brought this up last meeting. The Board of Fire Commissioners gave it to Board of Selectmen for approval, and we didn't get it in time to really view it, so you've had it now, and I wonder if you had any comments on it. I have one comment, under delineation on the bottom of the first page, it says, signs and markings required on privately owned premise shall be erected and installed by the owner of such premise who shall bear the cost. My feeling is if we determine a fire lane and we ask them to do it, it's probably going to be more grief than it's worth trying to get them to do it right, and we should just do it. It's a matter of putting up signs and labeling it or anything. So I don't think the property owner should necessarily be in financially or physically in charge of doing it, but that's my feeling.
Yeah. No, it's a comment that I had as well. So
I think if we ask them to do it, we're probably going to chase them around and get them to do it right anyway, instead of doing it. It's not a major undertaking.
well, I mean,
That's my comment. So.
yeah, but again, if we're establishing a fire lane because the fire marshal or the selectmen or fire commissioners, whoever, they think it's that important, then it should also be our expense as well. But I've had if we're done with that, I had a few other.
Before we get to it, let's so we would be crossing out. Yeah, I just want to get the wording right if we're going.
Austin, I might recommend that that we just forward our comments on that
And let them
document to you. So it sounds like we're going to ship some back to the fire commissioners
Okay.
to look at again.
Okay, that's fine. They can reword it. They get our intent, right?
Yeah.
That's fine. So you have another issue with it?
Yeah, the fines, one, they escalate too quickly. I think if they're not paid in 48 hours, you know, they escalate and they go up to a maximum of $100. As important as it is to keep fire lanes free, you know, it's kind of I'm not disagreeing with the amount of the fine, but I do want to be sensitive to the fact that, you know, if someone parks there accidentally or otherwise, they should have a reasonable amount of time to pay the fine. And I'm not sure that 48 hours is reasonable before it starts to escalate and double. So I'd like for them to look at the appropriateness of that, and maybe if the fine is not paid or it's ignored, is there a way to just tie it into our system, kind of like with the car taxes, that, you know, if they go to register a car and they have outstanding obligations, that it gets paid then, so that we're not constantly chasing folks.
I think that might be a major problem because you'd have to deal with the state on that.
Agreed.
I'm full agreement that you get more than a couple of days to pay it.
Yeah.
I don't know if we could put a lien on a vehicle or whether it's worth it for that kind of money.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we can do, but I mean, again, if we're going to have a lot of uncollectible fines, what's the point of enforcing it? But, and the key is, I mean, it's not to fine people. It's
To make them compliant.
well, right, to avoid type of behavior that is problematic.
Any comments, Ray?
No,
Did you look it over?
yeah, I agree with the time frame of paying. The other thing is you need some kind of consequences. I agree there. But what kind of enforcement do you have? What, you give someone a fine, then who follows up on that? If they don't pay, that's it. It's been a concern.
That's the same as any penalty. It's only as good as the enforcement.
Yeah.
And lastly, this doesn't recognize.
But just wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
While we're on that, I'm just thinking, I don't know. It's a town thing. I wonder if we'd have any legality about packing your taxes, where that's also a town thing. Probably not legal. Just
Not
trying,
sure.
it might be a question to ask, because it's a town thing. I don't think we're gonna get the state involved, but maybe, I don't know. We could ask the attorney something about that.
Right, and again, if the resident trooper is the one that's handing out citations, do we now want to congest the court system with
Yeah, I
stuff
know.
like this? So,
All right, what else you got?
there's no mention in this how the fire marshal and the establishment of a fire lane interacts with P&Z. So usually if something new is getting built in town and someone's going for a site plan approval, usually the fire marshal comments on turning radiuses and fire lanes and stuff like that, and it gets approved in the context of planning and zoning. If that's the case, I'm not sure why it would need to be advertised in the paper and stuff like that. There's already a public hearing process within P&Z. Is that the more appropriate path if it's for something that's brand new?
I'm having trouble following why P&Z should be involved.
Well, say for example, Walmart, they come in, they present their site plan approval, and all the various departments get to comment on the site plan. If the fire marshal's looking at it and says, well, I don't like the hydrant locations, or, I think this turning radius is going to be too tight, and I think this area needs a fire lane, that's going to be part of the site plan approval, no?
I don't think we need a site plan approval to put in a fire lane.
No, but in the context of the site plan approval and the fire marshal looking at those plans.
Well, we already have an existing place. Well, it's either way. We might have an existing place where we're putting in a fire lane, so there's not going to be a site plan approval process. If you're building a new place like Walmart and you got a site plan approval, it could be incorporated into it.
Right, and that's my point. If it's something brand new, it should probably stay within the P&Z process. If it's something existing where we're adding the fire lane, then yes, I'm in agreement with, publicly advertising it and notifying, the affected parties and stuff like that. I'm just saying that there's a hole in it somewhere with with the new stuff, and it should probably just be done in the context of the P and Z approval.
But it states in the beginning that fire marshal shall determine the reasonable safety of persons, the premises, it's up to the fire marshal.
Mm-hmm. So if it's up to the fire marshal on something new, what I'm trying to avoid is having two approval processes, one for P and Z and then a separate one just for the fire marshal that requires the public advertising and all that stuff. There's already a regulatory process in place with P and Z. I would just suggest keeping it there.
That's assuming you do it when this new building goes up.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're complicating the process. If it's just under the direction of the fire marshal, I don't know why we'd make it more complicated. I guess that's my issue.
Well, I'm just trying to make it less complicated so that there
I
are
think
two approval
it makes
processes.
it more complicated.
But anyway, that's something to consider. I can
mean,
mark it up and provide my comments, and folks.
well, we can put it down there either way. We'll put it down at this question about it. I mean, bring it back to them, see what they think. I'm just trying to think of the actual role that the P and Z would have, and like you say, we can get comments from fire marshal or fire departments on widths and turning radius and heights and that kind of stuff. I don't know. We can bring it up and discuss it.
Okay.
I have no problem with that.
So I don't have any other comments, but I'm happy to just mark up what you sent out and we can kick it around some more.
So I assume we'd send it back to fire commissioners and them kick it around a little, right?
Well, I'm not sure what the source of this was. I mean, I would hope.
Pretty sure this is town of Orange. I looked it up on site.
I would hope that they plagiarized a good one. And if we have to go back and steal some language from another town just to address some of these blind spots, I'm fine with that.
But I think what I might do is send our thoughts on to Mike so he could have it before the fire commission meeting, so they didn't get it just like we did last meeting without a chance to think about it.
Right.
And so maybe they could act on it quicker.
When is the next fire commissioners meeting?
I don't know.
It is.
Third Monday.
There you go. Amy's on it.
The right day. The 12th. No, the 13th, sorry.
Of December?
It's the second.
Okay, so I'll get my comments to you ASAP so that
Okay.
if you wanted to aggregate them with yours and Ray's, then we can send those along.
That's all right. Anything more on the fire lane ordinance? This goes in line with what you were saying earlier, that this would have to go to town meeting, so add it to the list. We're getting quite a long list. We should have a meeting sometime probably. Okay, old business B is town planner position. We've interviewed 3 people for this. The last one we interviewed this morning. I think we're gonna offer it to the gentleman that came in this morning. Hopefully he'll take it. I'm not sure we can match the dollar figures he's getting, but hopefully he's not happy where he is and he's willing to consider our proposition, because he's not happy where he is and he'll have a day less a week to work. So we'll have to see what happens, but we're planning on offering positions, so. Any questions on that?
Who is on the interview panel?
Lori Open, of course, Margaret, Lisa, India, myself, Margaret Washburn, and Michelle Segerson, chairman of the zoning commission.
Good, thank you.
Okay. On to number 6, discussion of financials. Doing the financials. Any questions on the financial?
Only what was brought up at the do that all the time, Board of Finance, raised some issues, with the financials, and I know that, Shelley was working on some of those changes and getting back to them with information, so I guess I'll just wait till the next Board of Finance meeting. So.
Ray, any
Some of the
comments?
same issues to clean up.
I got a lot to digest and look over, and that's why.
But we do get the income and expenses every meeting year to date.
Yeah.
Stuff, so expect you to review them, and if you have questions, that's how you're gonna learn, is by asking questions, so.
I will have some next meeting.
Number 7, approve bills. The vouchers,
Yeah, well, there were 4.
I'll move we approve voucher 1289 dated 11/30/23 for
Last page.
That's fine, turn it over. $313,319.25.
That's the revised voucher, so I'll second.
Any discussion?
No discussion, just a disclosure. There's a reimbursement to my wife for $556.67, reimbursing her for election day expenses. Those were reviewed and approved by the finance department, so I'll be voting on the overall approval for the voucher.
I could just comment quickly on why it was revised. We had a bill from Visions for reval, and we're questioning whether we pay NECOG to do a reval, whether we have to pay Visions for the work or not. So that we're questioning that back to NECOG to make sure that we actually owe that. So that's why it was revised to take that one out. Any other questions? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Was opposed? So moved. Now I move voucher 1282 dated 11/15/23 for $132,943.84. This is for road work paving for the highway department, so it's a capital.
I'll second.
Discussion?
So this was part of the roadway improvement that was coming out of the highway budget?
Yes. Came out of the highway budget. We had 3 ways to do it, but we took it out of the highway. It could have been highway ARPA or TAR, but this came out of.
That was the work.
This was mainly for Almada Drive. We have an issue over there. We have a sediment pond, drainage pond that was set up as a sediment pond, but they've extended the vertical pipe, so it's a pond now. It's not a drainage pond, and the water is seeping through the ledge into the, cracking up the pavement. So Sil was supposed to go look at it today. We got the plans from the building department, how it was designed. And Sil is supposed to go look at it today and see if we can determine where it's supposed to be and tell them that they have to go to the original design. I mean, it looks nice, it's a pond, but that's not the purpose of it. But we didn't realize how bad it was until we paved the road, and we had an ice issue over there a couple of days ago where it was bubbling up in the road. So that's a new road we hope we can rectify before we wreck our new roads. So that's the good news. Yeah, I would move voucher 12. Did we vote on that one?
Yeah.
There we go again. Okay. All those in favor of voucher 1282 as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So moved. Keep me in line here. I'd move voucher 1297 dated 11/30/2023 for $1,440.42.
I'll second.
This is mainly gas.
There was a reference in there to one of the purchase orders being open since, was it October?
Probably highway, isn't it? Oh, no, open. I think that's highway, yeah. Highway, they have the option of putting into those things, they can put an open invoice in for the month, and then they don't have to put in each individual. As far as what do you call it? The request for it, because it's already been approved. I forgot the wording of it, but highway usually does open invoices, so they don't have to do each request for each one. Like if they go to Napa for a $5 bolt, they don't have to put a request in for it because they have an open invoice for $400 for the month or something.
So it's just an allowance.
Yes.
No other question.
Okay.
You have to approve it.
No, we don't vote on this one. All those in favor of voucher 1297 as presented, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, nay. So moved. The last voucher is 1302 dated 11/30/23. The amount of $1,121.29.
I'll second.
This looks like it's all rec. Any discussion on this one?
Nope.
Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So moved. Any other questions on bills or anything? Other business?
Austin, did you want to address the petition under other business, or do you want to add a separate agenda item?
I think we could do it on our other business. You want me to address it, or you want to bring something up?
No.
I'll just say, I brought up to Joe that we had a petition to have a special meeting, and we seek attorney's advice, and they gave us reasons why they didn't think it was a valid petition. And I just discussed whether we should actually have a vote on it, so there's no question that we're not going to have a town meeting, so there's no question that we responded to it. Whether I could do it or we could do it as a board, I don't care. That's why I brought it up to Joe that we might want to do that. You want to comment any more, Joe?
Only to say that the town attorney's advice was that the resolution of open litigation is the responsibility of the board, the entire board. So if we need to respond, or if you need to respond to the petition, and an affirmative vote of this board is helpful and necessary, I'm happy to make that motion.
I just thought to be clear, and I didn't want any question that we did turn it down for the reasons the attorney gave three reasons. One, I have it here somewhere, I brought it with me. One, it's up to the Board of Selectmen. Two, there was no definitive action. And three, we'd be discussing stuff that we might not be able to discuss because of litigation. And And so I didn't want any question that we did consider it. We went on attorney's advice and, denied it, so. I just think, I don't care whether we have a vote or whether I just state it in the minutes, but I think we should have a definite action on it, so there's no question.
I'll make the motion that based on the advice of council that we forego the scheduling of a town meeting as requested in the petition.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion on it? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. So moved. The only other thing I got, other business is, they're supposed to, put the, heat in the transfer station next week, I think, the Mitzi Bitsy. We got 3 bids on it, and, they're moving ahead with that. We're gonna get it done, so they have AC this summer, and we're getting behind on heat this winter, but it's finally happening, I guess, so we'll get that done, be one more capital item taken care of, so that's scheduled for next week. Kind of glad to get that done. It's been a long time getting 3 bids. The other thing I'd bring up is, in your packet, you have the report from Troop D on investigations, accidents, traffic accidents, any activity with Troop D, and for Ray particularly, we get one of these every month. So we know what activities Troop D has done. This is just in Brooklyn. And if you have any questions about it, or you want an explanation, I know we have had them in here explain it to us if you'd like that too at some meeting, but just want to point out that we do have that. Any other business you guys got that you'd like to talk about or I didn't bring up?
Nothing for me.
Okay, move on to number 9, public comment again.
I do.
Okay, Sandy?
A couple different things. First of all, what Joe was trying to say, I believe, about posting notices in the paper about the fire lane, it says that it should be done all the time. But Joe's saying it's overkill if it's a new building. That shouldn't have to be published in the paper for people to approve it. That's a waste of time. I think this needs to be tweaked a little bit to say only if it's on an existing.
If it's approved as part of the zoning application, you say?
Yeah, it doesn't need to be published in the paper. Because they've taken care of it. Where you'd want to publish it in the paper would be if they're putting in a fire lane in existing communities, existing buildings. For example, the icebox. If you're going to put one in there, you need to put that in the paper, but not if you're building something new.
Yeah, I think we got that, but I'm glad you clarified a little more. We'll bring that
Okay.
up. Yeah.
The other thing I wanted, well, there are a couple of other things. I would like to know if there can be some language written in here somehow, because I think it's necessary.
If you're on a fire lane?
Still on fire lane.
Okay, just
Yep,
clarify.
still on fire lane, sorry. Before a building should be approved to be sold to a fire department, the fire marshal or somebody needs to look at what might be a problem. I mean, when East Brooklyn moved into the building that they were in, there would be a problem there with the fire lane because it's the road. And I'd like to think that we never would have a situation like that come up again. If it takes language in the fire lane description or something to say somebody's got to approve an emergency building put in there, or change the access or something so that it doesn't interfere with an existing business or an existing property. If I had houses there and they wanted to build a fire station behind me, I wouldn't like fire trucks coming out of my driveway every day.
I'm just thinking off the cuff here, is fire company the only thing that would refer to, or could there be some other, a bar, or I'm just wondering if something could be written in the zoning regulations to cover that. But I'm wondering if it's just the fire station, or if there might be other things that might pertain to.
How about any emergency services that are going to establish a building? I think if a bar was going in, who cares? They're not gonna be, they're gonna be drunk.
You might care if you had an ice cream shop out and the drunks are running back and forth.
That's possible.
I don't know, I'm just trying, off the cuff, trying to think,
Yeah.
if you're gonna do it, you wanna make sure you cover everything, not just one specific.
Yeah, if something needs to be put somewhere so that this never, ever happens again. And
We don't typically respond, but I'll just say this. The fact that we didn't have a town planner at the time, was a real handicap, because I think any new use for a parcel goes through some type of review, right? And someone says, one, does it conform to zoning? Is it an appropriate use for the area? Somebody makes that determination. Back then, there was no one on staff making that determination other than the first selectman. No offense to first selectmen or even selectmen. They're not experts.
oh no, I know.
So it is what it is. I think that would take care of itself if we had appropriate
People say that.
staff in place that exercise good judgment. But I get you.
Okay, then, the last question that I have is under maintenance. It says that when the fire lane is established, but not municipally owned, that the owner has to maintain the fire lane to keep it open for snow or keep it in decent shape or whatever. How would we interpret that for what we've got now with the icebox in Suto and the fire department? I mean, that's a road that they all deal with, so all three of them, or all businesses and stuff are responsible for maintaining
Well,
it?
two of them own it, right?
They own businesses.
No, but we're talking about the road, maintaining the road.
Nobody really owns it, I don't think.
Yes, they do.
Well, then
They own it with the right of way. The icebox owns part of it and the fire company owns part of it.
Right, and the people who live there and the monogram, they all own part of it. So are
Not
they?
not the right of way, I don't believe.
They enjoy the use of it, but I think
Okay,
to Sandy's point, just like the
I questioned that along with the signs too,
yeah,
well, exactly.
but then I didn't bring it up.
Yeah, I don't know if it was under your administration or under Rick, but the town agreed to begin, plowing that road, even though we technically don't own it, and it's not, I don't think it's technically a town road, but.
I know the town started plowing all the fire departments too, so
But I
that's
think-
probably part of it.
But I think that's the type of thing that should be handled under separate agreement. Just like when,
There again, we don't wanna plow Walmart's fire lane.
right, but
They own the property, I mean, it's not a right-of-way thing, it's not
Well, they own the property too.
I'll give you another example. Recreation takes care of these sidewalks out here on Route 6. The contractors for all these commercial properties stick their piles right at the end of the road, blocking the sidewalk. So we plow the sidewalk. They come out, they drop their piles in front of the sidewalk, basically cutting off pedestrian access. And then if recreation doesn't go out again to cut another path, people are walking in the road again. So it's the same type of thing. By agreement, recreation does that road. So if it requires a couple of passes, then that's what we got to do. It's the same type of thing here. I don't think it should be on any private owner to to have to install the signs and maintain the property. And if it develops a pothole, they're not going to go out to Home Depot and buy some coal patch and drop it in there. I mean, that's over and above what we can expect from.
I questioned it, same as I did the signs. but I didn't bring it up because I figured it was their driveway too, so they'd probably be plowing it, but I don't feel strongly one way or another. But I think, you know, they own this and it wasn't their idea to make it a fire lane. So should we have them maintain it? I think there's a good case to say that if we make it a fire lane, we should maintain it.
I agree.
I'll bring that one up too.
Think of another one.
Too late.
The conservation, thing that was supposedly finished before Jana left, the
Plan of
Plan
conservation
of
development.
Conservation and Development. I checked on the town's website today and it's still the one from 2010 to 2021. There's no new one up there.
The only new part is the housing part, and I'd have to see if that's put up separately.
The housing
But it
part's
should,
there.
even if it's the same, the date should be changed probably.
Yeah.
I think somebody else brought that up too.
Yeah,
But I don't think the only thing that changed was the housing part.
Does the plan of conservation development require public meeting approval?
I think it might. Well, the zoning board approved the housing.
it worked on that for 2 years. How did the only change that we had in it come from with housing? And I thought we hired somebody to help them work on it.
We did that 10 years ago. We had, I got the guy's name now. We went through the whole thing, but this time I think Jana did most of it on the housing plan. I don't think we hired anybody else.
Oh, we did, early on.
I thought there was someone early on,
Yeah, even before it was due to be done.
but regardless, if there was a decision to not make any changes, we should slap a new date on it, circulate it for public comment and approval if that's what's required.
I think it may just be up to the zoning board, but I'll double check on that.
My last thing, last night in the Morton Lakes Board of Directors meeting, we were talking about paramedics and the rising costs of them, and you might want to talk to the chiefs about the people running on the ambulance, not the paid crew, but the people who get paid, our members who run the ambulance, have made many comments about how paramedics are called out for almost everything now. You can have a fever and they call out a paramedic. It comes from QB.
When is that determined? I guess that's the question.
It used to be, and this is back in the dark ages when I was running, if it was a heart problem or high blood pressure or something that was a matter of life and death, you got a paramedic. But right now what's happening is a paramedic's coming almost all the time and the EMTs are sitting in the back going, why am I here?
They gave us the figures today. I think it's like a half or a third. I forgot the time that they go off. It's not all the time, but it's pretty often. Yeah.
It's very often. You might want to check with what the stipulations are for when do you have to call a paramedic.
And if that's simply QB trying to avoid a liability issue, they're spending other people's money unnecessarily, so.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I think that they're doing. But that's my opinion. But talk to the chiefs and check with QB.
I have been sending both chiefs communications I have, so they're involved, but I think particularly if we could get in touch with NECOG because they're working on this and they can question them on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have Kathy with her hand up.
Kathy,
Hi, Kathy Williamson. Two things. The first one is, Joe, thank you for mentioning the 48 hours, but it's a practicality thing. If you ticket someone on Friday night at 9 p.m., they can't pay their fine in 48 hours. So even if they wanted to, they couldn't because they can't get to some place to pay it in 48 hours. So that's a good call out. Secondly, I think this was stated, but I want this to be completely stated on the record. There was no process from anyone in the town other than the first selectman to approve the East Brooklyn Fire Department using that site for a new type of use. in 2003? Is that what you said before? I'd like that specifically to be on the record, though. Is that the truth? That there was really no review of that change in use of that property?
I can't say that. My only recollection was with Maury. There was no town planner. I think we had a zoning enforcement officer. I don't know how much he was involved. And I'll have to be honest, I didn't go back to check any planning and zoning meetings to see if it were addressed. My point was that there wasn't anyone in town administration that had the professional expertise to comment on the change in use for that building.
Okay, and then my final comment is just one about a little bit of professionalism. We all know what's going on in the town now, and we know that there's we know what's going on. And I've heard no less than 3 times comments and references to that situation in less than professional ways. And that's really, really, really disheartening. Thank you.
Sure with that. Aaron, is that a new hand or an old hand?
I think it's a new hand. Karen?
It's a new hand. I guess my comment would be the irony of feeling that $100 fine for a parking violation is prohibitive and seems excessive when the whole underlying basis of this issue with the icebox that have caused years of litigation is about parking in a fire lane. So I guess I'm just trying to find how you balance that of saying like, oh, you can't park in a fire lane, paying $100 is too much, but hey, we can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in litigation because there's a fire lane challenge. My other comment would be, I noticed in the I guess we're not talking about the budget, so I'll hold off on that. But it also with respect to the 48 hours, I think it is also prohibitive that, you know, for the same reasons, if you give me a ticket at 10 o'clock at night on a Tuesday and it's 48 hours from there, you know, where are we going to pay it? Are holidays factored in? What is the 48 hours? What is that based on? If I get a speeding ticket, I'm not obligated to pay that in 48 hours. So why parking violation?
Understood.
Get it on a Tuesday and not a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Careful when you park in the wrong place.
Mm-hmm.
Any other public comment?
Carrie?
Gary?
Hi, Austin. Hi, everybody. I don't want to beat a dead horse about this parking violation and 48 hours, but I do kind of want to bring up how unfeasible that is. The other options that we could have if we want proper enforcement is to hire more people, like meter maids, but I'm pretty sure the town doesn't want to go that route. And also, if you only have 48 hours to pay this, where would you go to pay it? Because Stoughton has 72 hours, but they have a full-time PD. So that's my big issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Austin, there was a proposal during Rick's administration whether or not we wanted to create constables to do just what Carrie described, to be in charge of parking enforcement, being in front of fire hydrants, fire lanes, you know, other prohibited areas of parking within town. It just never got any traction because of the reasons she described. But
We have the ability to appoint constables if we want.
right.
Mary?
Mary?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
So I was curious about that. I was assuming that the fire lane violations would be handled by law enforcement. So I'm not really understanding who would be doing this ticketing. Especially with regard to the icebox, I would be very concerned if it's the fire department that would be ticketing. But either way, typically you have 30 days to pay a ticket, any kind of ticket. So this 48-hour thing just seems ludicrous to me.
I know you don't have this in front of you probably, but it says a police officer, fire marshal, or first selectman, is the way it's worded in this. I got another job.
Okay. So, but I've never heard of having to pay any kind of a ticket within 48 hours. That's just not, especially with as busy as people are these days, it's just not possible. What if somebody is here from New York?
Understood.
So I wrote this because I wanted to be clear. I can't help but assume that this impending fire lane ordinance was prompted by the nightmare that the Nemeth family has lived for the past 3 years. It's really too bad that this wasn't discussed 3 years ago, because the lawsuit that was filed against them was based on a lie. Nobody has ever parked in those fire lanes, ever, not once. And I just want to remind you guys that there's been a business at that location for 100 years. The former businesses were never harassed about fire lanes. The hair salon and Monogram at Plus has never been harassed about fire lanes. As soon as the fire department put in those fire lanes, they were honored. Nobody has ever parked there. There are claims that people have parked there. The fire department has cameras. I would invite them to show us people that have parked in those fire lanes. I just wish this had been addressed 3 years ago. That's all.
Thank you. I think we all do.
I'm not sure if Carrie's at a new hand.
Any other comments online?
I don't think so.
No? There's no other comments. We'll close public comment.
Wait a minute.
Hello?
I don't know if Mary.
Sorry.
You done, Mary? You got another one?
I think she's good.
No, I'm done. Sorry about that.
Thank you. If not, I think a motion to adjourn is in order.
Motion to close public hearing, no. No, he closed it. Public hearing, you close the public hearing,
Yeah.
okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn. I'll second.
Discussion? All in
Yes,
favor?
let's discuss that.
All in favor, say aye. I'll vote on this one, okay?
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you all for coming and commenting. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.